So this was my dad's idea. This is the closest I'm gonna get to being Rebel Scum. You can probably tell what this is by the title of the video, but we're going back into our kind of love for the Star Wars Holiday Special, which is the worst piece of Star Wars media that exists. But yet I kind of have a special place for it in my heart. I've done the Holiday Special Boba Fett before, recently done the upgrades for the armor, and now I'm introducing to you one of the Holiday Special's main characters, Lumpy the Wookie. For those who don't know, Lumpy is Chewbacca's son in the Holiday Special. He's just like kind of like a toddler. So I'm technically too tall for Lumpy, so we're kind of going that Lumpy's grown up a little bit, but it's still quite a childish Wookie. So obviously we got a costume for it. So you guys know my dad cosplays Chewbacca. His costume is from a company called Evil Chimp, which is where we've got this one from now. Evil Chimp's kind of done sort of a little bit of their own thing to get sort of different looking kind of Lumpy costume. It's basically for the main body a downsized version of Chewbacca, but the head is unique, so it doesn't look like just a smaller version of Chewie. So obviously for this costume I'm also not going to be wearing stilts. I get the freedom of movement, which my dad doesn't get when he's wearing heavy decorated stilts. So he's kind of envious of that. So I get to be a small, very cuddly Wookiee, but I'm going to show you a couple of differences between my suit and my dad's. Starting from the bottom, working our way up, we've got the feet. So for the feet, we've got these, which are shoe covers that have been made. So we've got sort of a little rubber cast of some large, kind of like Bigfoot feet at the front, obviously covered in the Wookiee hair, and kind of got this little sort of foamy fabric material that slips over the shoe. So you've got two straps of elastic that slips under the bottom of your sole of your foot, and a little strip of Velcro at the back that goes around the heel. So you just slide the end over so the tip kind of covers the shoe, the elastic straps on the bottom, and then we just tighten that around the back, and boom, one foot. So obviously you do have to be wary of it if you're going to be taking photos in this costume, or a costume like this. Obviously if I'm sitting down with my feet outwards, people are going to see the bottom of my feet and see that it's a pair of shoes. But that's actually kind of accurate if you think about it to New Hope, where Chewbacca was running down the Death Star corridor. From behind, if you look at his feet, you can see it's just a pair of trainers. So you know, Lumpy's just got some custom feet going on, it's fine. But from the front, and when the legs are on, so it has the rest of the hair that sort of comes down and hides the rest of this, it blends in, you don't really notice. Now the main bodysuit with the legs and the chest pretty much the same as the ordinary Chewbacca. So here are my legs. The entire costume is done with this kind of netting material, so you've not got a solid fabric with the fur stock on. So if you're outside and it's windy, it's still breathable, so you're not going to sweat too much. You do want to wear a layer under this because of the way that the fur is done. You can see it's glued on in layers here, and this glue is like kind of like a silicone, and when you sweat, it sticks to your skin really easily, as in just kind of like friction, not as in it's sticky. So it makes it really hard to take off. You kind of get stuck in it. So I'm gonna wear some compression gear when I put this on at events. So basically, these you slip on, you've kind of got this little drawstring at the front you can tie together, but I'm gonna borrow the braces from my Hades cosplay and just attach that on there just to make sure that they stay up, and we're not going to have a flashing Wookiee anytime soon. So this is my bodysuit, as you can see, pretty much exactly the same as Dad's Chewbacca one. We've got the same fur pattern, obviously just made a little bit smaller to fit me. Same rules apply with the trousers. It's made out of the same netting material, and you want to wear the compression gear underneath because it's really hard to get on and off by yourself. So it's definitely a warm costume, but if you're outside in the breeze, it's not too bad. Moving on down our arms, we've got the gloves. So these are like a pair of gardener's gloves. You can see there is sort of like a little texture going on the palm of the hand there, and the fur on this was longer, but I cut it down a little bit because it was that little bit too long. Obviously I still want to be able to grab stuff and interact. It looks weird not having the rest of the fur kind of there to blend into it, but again, once it's on, you don't see the cuff and it blends in quite well, and the gloves actually fit me really nicely, which is something I do tend to have an issue with because I do have quite small hands. So normally I do get a lot of excess in the tip of gloves. I have that problem with my Stormtrooper armour, but for this I don't have a lot of excess, so for me this is really good, and there's enough room in sort of like the fingers of the gloves that I can get my finger triggers in, so I can wear the tramp and trigger off some Wookiee sounds, which I haven't done yet, but I need to modify the existing Chewbacca sounds on there just to kind of pitch it up a little bit to make it sound like a younger Wookiee. I was thinking about taking the sounds from the holiday special and putting it on the tramp, but rewatching the clips of Lumpy back, those sounds are horrible and terrifying and I do not want them. So it's just going to be a case of editing our pre-existing sounds to get them to work. So here is the main part of our costume. Obviously I've not brushed everything back yet. There's still a couple of bits that sort of just need to have a little trim just to get it to look a bit neater. It looks quite weird at the moment, but we have added some extra fabric in places, so it just needs to be tweaked a little bit, and obviously my head's not in there. So what they've done for this to get the smaller head is the Hasbro masks that you can get, just the plastic ones you put on and you open the mouth and it makes the Wookie noise. They've actually done a mould of that and added all the extra parts. Obviously we've got the teeth, which I've done a little repaint of, so they're a little bit more worn and look a bit more natural, and added the rest of the details. So obviously we've got like the skin mouth, we do have a hinged jaw, and for the rest of it I've done my own tweaks. So if we take a look at the inside of the mask here, it's a bit rough, still need to do a little bit of trimming, but just to show you guys kind of what's going on. I've had to add some extra fur down the sides, so when this flap is over, before there was just a gap down the sides of the neck, which is an issue that is with the Chewbacca costume as well. It just seems to be an issue with all the Evil Chimp ones, is just down these sides where there's no fur, where there's just no netting to have the fur on. You can see through and you can see the person underneath, so it was the same issue here, so we just had to bulk that out. Like I said, it just needs a bit of trim, but you can just see on the inside there, I've added a load of padding. I've added made a little head brace. There was a Velcro strap that was on there before, but it didn't work very well, so I've gone with the trusty elastic to make sure it's a nice tight fit to my head. Used a bit of EVA foam just to heat form it in place, just to give an extra little bit of support on the top of my head as well. And ground out the eyes a little bit more because they're a bit too inset. Like I wore it for 2 minutes when I first got the suit, just as a little test fit. Like not even that, just to take a few photos, and I took the mask off and all under here was just bright red and raw, just where the mask was digging in and rubbing so badly. So ground it down, added the sticky back felt back in, added a load of padding in there. It's just a case of adding padding, putting it on, see where it needs some work. Sometimes you think, oh, I have to add a bit more there or take away. It's just a lot of tweaking just to make sure it's comfortable, because you think you're going to be wearing this for a long time. You definitely need something comfortable on your face. And the other thing to think about was, because your head's so far forward in the mask, it's an issue I've seen with a few Chewbaccas. I think some people pad their mask out to be really comfortable, but it offsets the mask from the face a lot, so your eyes are really sunken in. It just makes the eyes seem dead because you can barely see the person underneath. So I've tried to bring my eyes as far forward in this mask as I can, but that also means my mouth is very close to the mouth of this, so when I open the jaw, you can actually see my mouth behind it. So we've just got a little pair of sort of black tights, just cut it up and stuck it behind the mouth, so obviously when you open it, I'm still behind there, but you can't see me. It's a little bit obvious, and it's black fabric, but I prefer that to be there than opening the mouth and you see me and have the horrible Ninja Turtle effect. That's pretty creepy. So this is just easy to slide on. We just kind of make sure the hair is out of the eyes. Basically with the elastic, this just slips on now. Put it on over your head. Make sure you're in, you're comfortable. Like I said, we need some styling, but we're there. And there you go, so you can see my eyes really, really clearly. And you can't see my mouth when I open it, which was the important thing for me there. Wookie hair gets absolutely everywhere. I'm gonna be hoovering for months. So that's the basics of this costume. Really, really simple. Pretty much just a scaled down version of Chewbacca minus the stilts. So if you're interested in seeing the Chewbacca costume, I do have a video on that, so go check it out. But let's have a little suit up and have some fun. this is the aftermath of dressing up as Lumpy. So I think that looks pretty cool. I think that'll be quite an enjoyable costume to take out to events with Chewbacca in tow, obviously. And that's it. So thanks as always. I've got to go out to my supporters on Patreon, especially to Jeff Kenny. If you'd like to support me on Patreon, maybe help me do this as a full-time job possibly. Links as always are at the end of my videos and description down below. Of course you don't have to. If you like what I'm doing here, please consider subscribing, share videos like this with your friends. There's always more stuff on the way, so if you subscribe, you'll know when I've got new bits out. So follow me on my social media if you want to. Again, links are down in the thing below. So as always guys, please do take care, especially at the moment. May the Force be with you.